So, Sam, I don't think Don's on vacation, is he? I'm pretty sure I saw him just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, he's still around. But
Why am I in the driver's seat this time
well,
around?
you own an EV, right?
That is true.
So
I do have a Tesla Model Y with me.
Exactly. So I thought it would be a great perspective.
Fair enough.
EV, first impressions.
Okay, fair enough. So, what am I looking at? What are we driving today?
We are in the Zeekr 001, top of the range, Mac Daddy.
Oh wow, nice. Okay, so Zeekr is a brand that we've looked at previously as well.
Yes, so it's owned by Geely. I always get the pronunciation wrong, and Zeekr is their like premium EV division, and this is their top of the range, biggest model that they have available in the region.
Which was the other car that we had looked at previously?
It was the X.
Zeekr X, that's
We had the
right.
X.
Okay. And where does this one position itself, the 001?
So the X is kind of like your compact crossover, the Model 3 size equivalents. This is more Model S, so considerably bigger. But I would think, given that I know it looks like a sedan from the side profile, but it's actually a hatchback. It's a sportsback.
Yeah, I feel like it's closer to the Model Y than the Model S.
Exactly.
Which is what I drive, so I guess it's a good comparison to make between the two.
Obviously, interior-wise, a lot more screens.
Yeah, for sure. More screens and a lot more premium as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely a step up or 20 from the Tesla, I'd say, as far as the interior is concerned. I really like the finishing and the whole look and feel.
Stunning. The micro suede, the leather, all the little detail accents, the sound system. It's really premium.
It is a beautiful looking car for sure. That I will give you. I like how the styling of the door handles is here as well. See how it kind of sticks out and just floats?
Yeah. The interior, the design is just absolutely gorgeous. I love it. It's got, like I say, the Yamaha 11 speaker subwoofer sound system. It's got your wireless charger. In the back you've got a 60 watt type C charger.
Nice.
So plenty of tech, plenty of beautiful premium materials.
And it looks like they've paid good attention to detail over here because everything just flows around really well. There are tons of little cuts and turns, but it just flows together beautifully.
Yeah.
I really like how the wireless charger is sort of horizontally placed over here. Most cars have it vertically. So I like how they've done that, and there's a little bit of a raised corner just so it sort of stays within it. And then you've got this floating design for these buttons. I would have liked these to be more traditional buttons instead of touch. I think that would have been nicer.
The fact that you mentioned that, I find I naturally want to rest my palm on it when I'm using the screen. And because they're capacitive,
they just
you then accidentally touch the, demister.
Gotcha. Having said that, I shouldn't be the one talking because the new Tesla doesn't have any buttons whatsoever. So at least there are some buttons here.
Exactly.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the car now. I mean, what are we sort of...
So car-wise, obviously we're in the top of the line model. This is dual motors, front axle, rear axle. You're talking 544 horsepower.
Oh, damn.
686 newton meters of torque.
Okay.
Which means it will do 0 to 60 in like 3.8 seconds.
That is fast.
So quick.
That
and
is
no
fast.
Option to pay for a faster speed. It's
unlike my Tesla.
One speed and
so
that's it.
Just for comparison, 0 to 60 on this is, you're talking about miles, right? 0 to 100 kilometers, basically.
0 to 60
miles per hour.
Yes.
Because 0 to 60, or that equates to roughly 0 to 100 kilometers.
Yeah, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, 3.8 seconds.
Gotcha. So on my Tesla, it's 4.9.
Yeah, but you have the long range.
I have the long range. I don't have the performance. And if I pay to upgrade, it brings it down to 4.1.
So it's still not as quick.
It's still not as quick as this one. And you've got lots of different modes here to sort of change that setting.
So off camera, Abbas was saying about the regen, right? So we have it currently configured that you can have one pedal driving, you can turn it on and off. But I was curious, we're currently in comfort mode. You have comfort mode, sports mode, snow mode, even sand mode.
Okay.
I don't know how confident I would be in off-roading with this, but you have it. Now, in customized, you can adjust the suspension. It has air suspension, which is really, really nice.
Fantastic.
So you can adjust how aggressive it accelerates, the propulsion, the suspension, the CCD, which seems like the shock absorbers, which is suspension, is a bit confusing in that regard.
Okay.
The brakes
Okay.
and the steering feel. But overall, what's your impressions, drive-wise comparison?
So look, I mean, I've driven it a little bit, and as far as your regular drive is concerned, it's nice. It's comfortable, it's smooth, and if you switch to sport mode, the pickup is really nice as well. The issue that or maybe something that I need to use the car more for, is that as far as Tesla is concerned, and when I release my foot off the accelerator, that braking, the region braking,
Yeah.
I know exactly how much longer it will take to sort of come to a complete stop. Here, I'm sort of getting mixed feelings. Certain times I feel that, okay, it will stop, but it doesn't. And then certain times it does.
Okay.
So, I don't know why. I just feel that's a little bit unpredictable. Maybe it's me trying to use the car a little bit more and getting used to the way it works.
Yeah.
But in general, that's my biggest complaint as far as driving is concerned. Other than that, it drives just fine, fairly smooth, definitely smoother than my Model Y for sure.
You noticed that?
100% smoother than the Model Y. Yeah, I like it. I like the drive of it. I just hope that we can tweak that braking bit a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about with this customized mode, whether the braking effect is purely for the pedal,
Yeah.
or is it in relation to the regen braking being even more aggressive?
Gotcha.
That's what I'm curious about, because I'm the same. I feel as though the regen braking is not linear. It's kind of like it falls off at that lower speed, and that's why you're like, oh, I feel like I need
to hit
brake.
the brake, yeah.
But I don't know, it could be just psychological.
So this display looks a bit bigger than what I have on Tesla. And I like the fonts, the cleanliness. It's nice, at least the screen that I'm looking at right now. It's quite nice. But tell me a little bit more about the UI.
So UI wise, you've got a couple of different options from like themes to run. I find it a little bit confusing if you run it in the white theme.
Okay.
Because on a black background, the customize option, for example, is selected. But if you change the theme back to light, and we go back, that it's clearly customized is selected. But there's confusing options when you go into, say, the lighting, for example. You've got front zone. So is that selected or is that unselected?
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
You don't know which
the
one
gray
is what.
and white aren't necessarily
Very clear. But if I go back to the black mode, it's like, okay,
it's right there. Yep.
yeah,
There.
white is on,
Yep.
black is off.
Yep.
So the UI I find a little bit confusing in that regard.
Okay.
But screen-wise, you're talking 15.4 inch for this one. And
15.4 inch.
15.4 inch. Yeah. And then you have an 8.8 inch instrument cluster.
Right.
You've obviously got like your car tracking,
Yep.
how much range you have, your kilometers, what radio station is playing or whatnot. But for example, if you increase or decrease the volume with the steering wheel controls, you naturally are going to look at the instrument cluster. You don't see any.
Nothing.
But if you have a look in your heads-up display,
Right. That's where it's changing.
it's not kind of natural. So I don't know why you would put it on the heads-up display where it's meant to be a clean, uninterrupted view. But you could say on the flip side, okay, you're not taking your eyes off the road by looking at the volume. You're keeping your eyes on the road. So
Gotcha.
it's a tricky one in that regard.
So here's a little bit of a feedback. These buttons, I think I would have preferred if they were just scroll or touch motion sensitive here as well.
Yeah.
These buttons with the feedback, I'm not sure. They're not real buttons. I mean, you're just getting some feedback.
Yeah. It's like a touchpad.
Touch, exactly. I would have preferred just a swiping function on them. Also, and this is probably something that I guess I'm so used to the Tesla way of driving now, is that I'm having to continuously look between the heads-up display, this instrument cluster, and the screen.
Okay.
So there's like 3 different places where I'm trying to look for information. If I want the speed, I'm sort of looking at the heads-up display. But on the Tesla, I always look at the screen.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at the tracking of where the car is, I'm looking at this instrument cluster here.
Which also has your speed though.
Which also has my speed. But because I'm generally just looking out the window, I'm looking at the speed over there.
Yeah.
On the heads-up display. And this tracking, again, on the Tesla, it's all on the screen.
Yeah.
So for me, these 3 screens are a bit too much. I think just the heads-up display and this big screen should have been enough.
And I would have loved to be able to ask you this question if we could turn back time to before you bought your Tesla.
Fair enough.
If you still felt the same
absolutely.
way.
So no, you're absolutely correct that when I got the Tesla, the first thing I was like, why does it not have an instrument cluster?
Yeah.
Right? And then you kind of get used to it. But this one has a heads-up display, which gives me the speed and, like you said, some of the functionality for, steering wheels and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's great. I like that. But then I don't think I need this anymore.
Yeah.
I
feel I agree. The instrument cluster for me is somewhat redundant from the fact that it displays information, but there isn't any interactivity aspect to it.
So this is not touch either. No.
It's not touch. And also, like I say, if you make any changes, everything is shown from the heads-up display and
Correct.
not there.
Correct.
So it's kind of
Yeah, I'm surprised that. Do they sell this as an add-on?
Nope.
No, it is a standard thing. I wondered that maybe the HUD is the standard thing, and this is just an add-on for people who really want the instrument cluster here.
Continuing on, obviously from the interior, I would say as premium in the back as it is in the front.
Okay.
The seats. If you're a fan of the Lexus LS430, the top spec back in the day,
Okay.
the seats reclined. So this has an electric reclining function, and they go
nice.
from your normal upright to a very leisurely and luxurious reclined position, which is really, really cool.
That is nice.
And the seats, obviously, they fold flat down as well.
Sure.
You've got like 2,000 liters of
Storage,
space.
yeah.
But I can't imagine you're going to be going to IKEA and getting all this interior.
Exactly. If it's too precious or too beautiful of an interior.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, what does the charging infrastructure looks like for Zeekr? Can we use Tesla chargers?
I tried that last night.
Okay.
And it doesn't seem that the plug fits, but you just get a symbol on the dashboard that shows like this red, not charging.
Okay.
So
did you try the regular charger, the supercharger?
I tried the supercharger. I went to the supercharger on Shigside Road.
Gotcha.
And
that
that didn't work.
Okay.
But we can test out with the regular Tesla charger now and see. I think that will be fine. Any level 2 chargers from Dewa, EV Charge, all of the other guys will be fine, and you'll get your 24, 26 kilowatt hours of charge. And that'll get you from, if you do from 10 to 80% charging, it should take about half an hour.
Not bad.
So it's not bad in that regard.
That's not bad at all, actually. That's quite nice.
Yeah. Also, just to add as well, range-wise, when we picked up the car, it had 99% charge on the battery. And what I liked, I don't know if you have this functionality on the Tesla, but when you go to charging, you've got two options. You've got standard and dynamic.
Okay.
So if you keep it in standard mode, it kind of shows the range that's there. And then dynamic is actually showing you your actual range. So it was showing around 580 odd kilometers of range on standard mode.
Okay.
But then when you switch it to dynamic, I'm guessing that takes into account how you drive the car,
how you're driving,
how the AC is being used, all of those things.
Right.
It dropped down to around 430, 460 kilometers.
Gotcha.
Which is, I think, okay considering it's got a 100 kilowatt hour battery.
That is bigger than a Tesla. Mine, I think it's got an 80 something.
Oh, yours has got an 80 something.
I think so. Yeah, that is pretty good. So range. Here's the thing, right? On the Tesla, the range is much better in Dubai winter versus Dubai summer, obviously because the AC is not lasting. And in Dubai winters, I get, again, as far as EVs are concerned, you try not to go lower than 20% on the battery.
Yeah.
So you're maximum getting 80% of the range. And then the thing is, you're never charging them to 100% either. Just to improve
you want to stay in that
exactly.
sweet spot, basically.
So I generally have my Tesla charged up to 85%, not 100%. And then I try never to sort of take it below 20. So I'm losing 35% charge anyways. That's a third of the battery anyways.
Yeah.
So that 2/3 of the battery that I am getting, I get roughly 400 kilometers on it. 350 to 400 kilometers on that winter time. Winter time. Yes, winter time.
Winter time.
Summertime, that drops down closer to 250 to 300. That's where you take a real big hit on there. And no, Tesla doesn't have two different options of showing how much battery life there is.
Okay.
It learns over time
As you drive.
as you drive. Then it sort of just gives you the charge and the range. Having said that, it's generally on the rosier side, the picture that it paints. So
The glass half full.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair.
Exactly.
So I think this is not bad considering it's got a bigger battery,
Mhm.
but it does have more performance.
Right.
It is dual
Yep.
motor and
Yep.
all of that, so kind of stacks up. The only thing is you obviously miss out on the supercharging aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel there's a bit of controversy with the supercharging because while I was at the charger yesterday,
Okay.
there was another person there with a Model 3 it was,
Right.
and he's plugged in on a supercharger,
Mhm.
and it was only charging at 25 kilowatts per hour,
That's nothing.
which
That
is nothing.
Nothing.
And there was another guy that came. He plugged in and he was saying he's only getting 24 kilowatt hours.
Okay.
So this
What's going
whole
on?
supercharger, high speed, like it's not all
So
what it's
I've
advertised.
okay. So I've used it once or twice at Mall of the Emirates. So see, this went a bit further than I was expecting
Okay.
it to. If I was on a Tesla, I know that it would have stopped before the white line.
I'm gonna put it back in comfort mode. You were
Okay.
in the harder braking,
But even the
Everything
harder
else is
braking took longer to
still longer to brake.
take longer to brake.
We'll try it in the other option now. But you were saying Mall of the Emirates charging?
Yeah, I've just used a couple of times and they've been ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
So like 40-45 minutes and my car goes from 35-40% to 85%.
Yeah.
Done.
Mm.
Done. 45 minutes is all it needs.
I think considering, because I think Zeekr is actually at the EV innovation show that's going on in Abu
Mhm.
Dhabi sometime around now,
Okay.
and they're participating there. There's been some announcements saying there's going to be over 1,000 fast chargers
Okay.
installed by 2030. I think
Okay.
things should get resolved
Things should
in
be, yeah.
your charging requirements,
So
which
the
is great.
EV sort of revolution is still in its very early stages
Oh,
right
yeah.
now. So whoever
yeah.
wants to get an EV really needs charging at home.
I would say that is mandatory.
Yeah.
If you are buying any EV, it doesn't matter
Mhm.
whether it's a Zeekr, Tesla, Polestar, whatever it is,
Right.
unless you're doing ridiculously short journeys. I did meet one lady with a Polestar 2.
Mm-hmm.
She just charges around and about. She doesn't charge at home, but she
Okay.
does like 20-kilometer trips. And that's it. You know your life is like,
Right.
that's it. Otherwise, forget about it. You need a
Gotcha.
charger at home, guaranteed.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. So let me ask you this. When I was buying my Model Y,
Mhm.
the options were either the standard, well, actually, the standard wasn't on offer here in the UAE when I bought it. It was either
Okay.
long range or performance. I could only choose between those two options.
Okay.
And then it was the color of the car and the color of the interior.
Mhm.
And then finally, whether you wanted the full self-driving or, the package on that.
Yeah.
That was it. Those were the three options.
Okay.
So at the same time, I was, not that I was planning on buying on it, but I was looking at the Taycan. And
Oh,
my
okay.
goodness, the amount of configuration options in that and the pricing range was wild.
Classic Porsche.
Wild.
Classic.
Typical Porsche, exactly. I preferred the very streamlined approach of Tesla when
Okay.
it came to that. How does Zeekr fit into this?
So I think they're somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
You've got basically three options.
Mm-hmm.
Standard is rear-wheel drive only.
Okay.
There's a few options here and there. You can obviously check the spec sheet for the actual individual differences. But then you move to premium. Premium means it's going to have the twin motors, all-wheel drive,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll have a few more options from there.
Okay.
And then you've got the flagship. So kind of like every model, a Nissan, a Toyota
Gotcha.
did. You had low, mid, high.
Gotcha.
It's the same thing with Zeekr.
Okay.
And you've got a couple of different colors to choose from. You've got interior colors to choose from as well. I think the interior color of this is beautiful.
Oh, yes. I love it.
I'm not so keen on the exterior color. It's electric blue. I think it's more a baby blue than an
Right.
electric blue.
I like it. I think it looks nice.
It's personal preference
Of
at the end
course.
of the day. And then just to kind of cover pricing, there isn't that huge amount like the Taycan for pricing difference.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking 226,900 dirhams as your starting price.
Okay.
and that's in dirhams. And then you go to 244,900 for the premium.
Okay.
And then the one that we're currently in is 271,900.
270. So 270 on the high end.
Yeah, 226 to 271.
It's not so bad.
It's not a huge difference, which is really nice.
Yeah, and it's not ridiculously expensive either. So
No,
that's
no.
good as well.
I think it's very competitive. If you want something different, something with fantastic interior, premium materials and everything, it's great. If you're not so fussed about tech from an attention to detail point of view with the UI and things, I think this is definitely something to consider.
And look, as far as the UI, etc. is concerned, it's software at the end of the day.
Yeah, we saw that before with the X. There were some
Absolutely.
things, they updated it.
Absolutely.
I'm sure Zeekr will be definitely on board to hear feedback from customers or anything like that. And they'll make changes.
Make changes.
Over the air
That's-
updates.
Absolutely. That's how it's. I mean, my Tesla today is very different than the one that I bought originally. So, no, of course, you can expect them to tweak this around a little bit. Fantastic. All right, and what kind of warranty does Zeekr offer here in the UAE?
So on the car itself, you get 5 years or 120,000 kilometers.
Okay,
Which I think is
pretty standard, yeah.
standard, not bad. And then on the battery specifically, you're getting 8 years or 160,000 kilometers.
Gotcha. Okay, similar to Tesla. Tesla offers you an 8-year battery warranty as well. So similar to
Yeah,
that.
competitive in that.
Yeah, it gives you a decent peace of mind, when you're owning an EV, especially. It's a new type of vehicle, so that's good. That's
And
good.
I think especially the fact that Al Rastamani is the dealer,
Right.
been around forever.
That's true.
Fantastic in that regard. I think they'll, take care of you from a dealer standpoint than to service places. And
That
all
is
which is good.
That is true. And is it purchased online or is it one of those traditional dealer?
As far as I'm aware, you can visit them they've got several like pop-up locations.
Okay.
So they were previously at Mall of the Emirates. They're currently, they moved to somewhere in, I think it was, what's the mall? Al Reef? No, not Al Reef.
In Abu Dhabi, Galleria.
Galleria Mall. They were in
Right.
Galleria Mall. So they're around and about, but I'm sure if you just check the website, you'll
They have
find
the details,
locations
I think.
and everything.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, that's pretty much the Zeekr 001.
Nice. It's a nice looking car, I'll say that.
Oh yeah.
And it drives well as well. But I think software is something that is going to make me stick to my Tesla. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who knows in the future, right?
Absolutely.
Could change, and then you're getting the best of
That's
both
true.
worlds.
That is true. I would love this kind of finishing in my Tesla.
Yeah.
This looks very premium, very classy.
So don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any other comments, if you have any questions about the cars, let us know. What would you like us to review next even? Let us know, and we'll see you on the next one.